Three. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Snoutboard Podcast pilot episode. In this episode, because it's the first one, we'll cover what is this podcast even about, who am I, what is the value for a game creator, we'll talk about the disclaimer, and then take a closer look at some of the tools in the graph I designed to allow game creator to make awesome game that resonate with the players. This podcast is essentially going to be based on a stand-up meeting. So one take, 15 to 20 minute long discussion about what is the data showing us in terms of trends, in terms of dynamic, and in terms of intel for us to make awesome games. A little bit more about me. I spent the past 10 years in the gaming industry, shipping small indie game, broader game, mobile game, and also big AAA, as well as gigantic game as services. And something I noticed is that game creators do not have the data-driven decision tool that are so common in the industry. Okay, let's talk about the board. There is two versions. There's a desktop version that we're going to look at in a second, and there's a mobile version. The mobile version will look like that. A small acknowledgement and a disclaimer, and then a lightweight snapshot of the current data. So you can look at the current trend and understand a few elements of the two main experience, Roblox and Fortnite UFN. But let's go back to the desktop one. I will start by saying that I am not affiliated, endorsed, sponsored, and operated by the Roblox Corporation or Epic Games. The dashboard uses data from the public API, and because it's not a crystal ball, it doesn't guarantee revenue, growth, or success in any shape or form. It is free to access, and it is purely for research purposes. When you acknowledge that, you can see the data. Let's look at the Roblox side of the dashboard, and immediately on your left, you'll see data source and health. That's what I was talking about earlier. The data will always be partial. It's going to miss the title, it's going to make the genre, it's going to miss the subgenre, sometimes it misses the description or the summary. That's just the way it is. So keep in mind that, yeah, it's not going to be perfect, but you might find some value in understanding why it's still showing a lot of the trends we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the top 5 most played game. I made that count to show how successful some of those games are. If you're in the gaming industry and your game is actually so popular that 500,000 players are playing it daily, you're doing something right. So maybe derive some inspiration from games that you might not resonate with, or that might have something you don't really understand. Be curious about why so many people seems to resonate with one thing. Because if you only have 10% of 600,000 players, you're still very, very successful. Something that strikes me right away, out of the top 5 games in this ranking, you see that 3 of them have an emoji in the title. Maybe that's something people resonate with because they want to immediately understand whether they're going to play or identify a universe right away. Let's look at the trending games. The most player gains is not always something that means a ton, but because you can go from 1 to 500, and that will show you a huge percentage increase. But you might want to understand why something is spiking. Did the creator do something cool, like on social media? Maybe they created some clips of find something that's very successful. That's worth checking it out. Another thing is also why something might not resonate with the player base anymore. Some of those games lost 100% of their player, and well, maybe because the World Cup ended, nobody wants to play soccer right now. That's something that's contextual and important to understand that maybe people are a bit fed up with soccer and want to play something else. Or maybe when it's the season comes back and people regain interest, maybe it's time to design a different way to go to market for your sports game. All right, let's talk about the genre. Roblox expose game genre and subgenre. We'll focus on the genre for this episode. Um, I will say for context that, for example, simulation is currently the biggest one. Though simulation in Roblox might not exactly be the same thing as simulation for PC game, right? Um, Simulation might include tycoon, sim-like, and game that have different sense than purely being a racing simulation or a flight simulator type of thing. So keep that in mind. And with the limitation that we expressed earlier with the fidelity of the data, maybe survival and simulation are closer than what it looks like, which 2% at the scale of Roblox is already very similar. But yeah, make sure that you understand what survival means in Roblox or simulation means, even RPG. What style of RPG? Is it more of a JRPG or a CRPG? That's important to make the nuance. Let's look at the most played game over time. We'll switch it from 7 days to a month and keep it as the top 25 and top 10. The visual should reformat, and you can see that you should normally see a spike around the weekend. That's very normal. That's how people play their games. But you can see that on June 24th, Speed Keyboard Escape spike at 3.3 million player. So in the same way we talk about Brookhaven earlier, um, they did something right in order to reach that number. So to me, I will look into what strategy did they use, and if there's anything that you can get inspiration, maybe replicate some extent. We did mention the genre over time. It will move and fluctuate. Simulation remained the biggest one in Roblox at the moment. Though, like we said, maybe that means that simulation is overcrowded. And if you don't have the production quality to compare to the biggest simulation game, then maybe you should choose something else or approach your design with a niche strategy in mind so you can find your audience and your player base without competing with the biggest experience. Okay, something I want to take a look at is my game idea is card. So I designed this card to help people who switch to monthly view, to help people understand who are the biggest player and if there is any design cues they can understand from the popular experience. Let's look at the simulation genre. Once again, the pie chart is telling us that's one of the biggest one, and it will even give us a few examples. We talk about the Speed Keyboard Escape because it spiked at the end of June. 3.3 million players, so much more than the other experience. So maybe there's a reason why you want to dig into that. Still, a Brain Rot has to be one of the biggest game too because it's vastly popular. But interestingly, you can see that the genre is simulation, but the same subgenre is going to be very different. Word, take care, incremental progression, I believe, and racing. So what this card shows you is a couple of design cues, but you make sure you proofread what it means. It's obvious you have some progression element in the game design, but you also have something that maybe is quite unique. Racing, and in this case, is probably going to be about speed, keyboard, escape, and doesn't mean racing in the go-kart or regular racing game vocabulary. Mostly going to be race against time, and that's how you create some sense of emergency. So that's a design element of that game. Another thing, like I mentioned, that segment currently mapped at 3+ million player. So if you have a wonderful idea, if you know you're going to resonate, that might be an opportunity. But on the other hand, if you know that you might want to stay away from those big players, that may be a genre you want to avoid. That will be summarized in the warning card with visible competition and some of other information. Let's talk about the top bar for a second. You'll notice a series of useful shortcuts that will take you places on the dashboard. You will also notice a game production session button. Use that to book a session with me to discuss a process, a data point, or anything that could help you design and ship your games. You can also support us by subscribing to the Patreon. Let's look at the Fortnite side of the dashboard. You can do so by clicking the Fortnite button on top. All right, the main difference between the Roblox data and the Fortnite UEFN is that the UEFN island don't really have a defined genre or subgenre. You can understand it by mixing the title, the description, and obviously the label. Looking at the genre, you can see that despite what you may think, a lot of the Fortnite experience are actually casual by nature and not always the shooting games. The primary label usage will tell you that while there is definitely a lot of shooting or battle royale derived games, there is definitely opportunities for games that are not exactly in that sphere, but more of a parkour based, or something a little bit more based on other gameplay loops. One of the elements you get from the public available data is the primary label. So while I will say that the team deathmatch is a little bit of an outlier, you can work on games that are not really shooting game based and still be successful. Escape, action, just for fun are still popular and within the top 10 of primary label islands. The big difference with Roblox is that UEFN doesn't really rank their experience. They don't expose the number of player. They are just showing a certain amount of games on island. So keep that in mind, that it's not exactly as simple as a leaderboard where this is popular or that is not popular. A fantastic opportunity with Fortnite UEFN is obviously to use IPs. You can do Star Wars experience. You can do. We can see that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle is popular, same as K-pop Demon Hunter. See, you can do a game that, I don't know, collect soda pop cans and use their IP. That would be awesome. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, let's look at the Might Fortnite Island idea. Similar to the card we just reviewed, You could pick a genre or estimated genre. Um, so party casual seems to be the most represented in the dataset. That doesn't mean that it's the most represented in UEFN in general. It means that it is the most represented in the dataset that we have access to. So another thing to put into perspective, this is not 100%, like a solution or perfect answer to a question. Um, we'll have some recommendation, and for example, we can see that we do have some game that might not be shooting based. Trick shot, quim, parkour, death run. I want to check this one out. 200 level easy spirits. That's actually a good question. Fortnite doesn't show thumbnail or miniature, so sometimes you have to do your due diligence and go play the game to see really what they're about. Same thing, you'll derive some design clues from the summaries or the title or labels, and just for fun seems to be the biggest one. I'm not sure what it means fully. You'll have to investigate a couple of those examples. Maybe it means there's a very light monetization or none at all, or maybe there's no way to be eliminated, or that gameplay is something a little bit different. Yeah, and similarly to Roblox, you can see a certain number. Maybe you want to stay away from the biggest genres so you can have a larger or maybe a better opportunity as a niche game and talk to another type of players. Right? I think that will do it for this episode. Once again, if you have any question, or if you want to discuss a process, a design, or anything related to shipping games, book a session with us. We'll be happy to help. Thank you for supporting the podcast, the dashboard, by being a Patreon subscriber. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you all soon.